morning, Kristen here. Yes, I just rolled out of bed to make this video because it was fresh. I just woke up, and so the topic that was on my mind when I woke up was about confronting our bullies and the childhood wounds that are coming to the surface to be healed. I feel like there are people in our life currently that are causing us discomfort and bringing those old wounds to life all over again through words or situations or, things that are causing, like the catalyst. Yes. People, places, situations, circumstances are the catalyst causing us to lose our shit right now. And I see a lot of it is actually stemming from childhood wounds that maybe were unhealed and the emotions are coming to the surface. But we're going after the things that are easily accessible because it would cause us more pain to dig into the wound. But that festering wound is still beneath the surface and lashing out at the people in our lives right now. While it might feel good to take our power back in that way, it feels kind of misplaced. Like we're still going to have to do the work at some point to dig back into that thing that wounded us first. So it's just been my experience lately that if we continue to put band-aids on things, we're never going to get to the root cause of that wound. So that's just my take on things. There are exes and things, people that are resurfacing that we're being asked to look at them differently and maybe make a different decision than what we would have made in the past. And that is encouraging us to take our power back in those ways, for sure. And I know that most people are, which kudos. I'm really proud of you for doing that because it does take courage. But there's a lot of people walking around just completely exposed right now and lashing out in all directions. And while it might feel good in the moment, that childhood wound is still under there. And it's waiting to be looked at. And it's going to come to us in all different ways. If it's not this circumstance, it'll be another one that looks just like it and brings that to the surface all over again. Makes you feel helpless, makes you feel unimportant or not seen or not heard, whatever it is. And we're looking for all different ways to be heard, looking for all different ways to do something different, which is great, doing something different than you would have done before. But it's still not addressing that underlying cause. So, I know a lot of people that don't quite know how to express that and how to tap into that old thing. You know, there's bits and pieces of us that just are still acting like that wounded child, behaving like that wounded child. The way we're incinerating the things around us, you know, and looking for utter chaos and total annihilation. While it feels powerful in the moment, it still doesn't take into account where that helplessness came from. And this is something that I've had to address and readdress and then readdress again in my own life. And that's the only reason I recognize it in other people. Because hurt people, right? So until we start really moving beyond those wounds and giving them space to be felt, we will continue to just mow people down, you know, kicking ass and taking names. I've had a lot of people come across my table in the last few weeks that are really getting in there and doing the work and releasing in ways that I've never seen people release before. Like, it is physical, it is emotional, and I gotta say, there's so many people that I'm really, really proud of with the way that they're going back into that stuff and really taking it apart and giving it a voice to be heard. Because those are our emotions that need to be felt and addressed rather than just pasted over, ignored in the ways that we've been ignored by people who didn't know how to address their own wounding. You know, it's a lot of inner child stuff right now. And I can definitely identify, even though I'm not currently in that place. I feel really good right now because I keep addressing the things if they come up, and I keep going back to where they may have stemmed from. And I think that's important right now. Taking our voice back and applying it where it needs to be. Sitting with those wounds, sitting quietly in meditation or, you know, journaling. Listening to that inner child and giving it what it needs instead of lashing out and just leaving a wake of smoldering debris behind us. Because clearly that's not the answer. Coming to our shadows from a place of love and compassion is for sure the answer. But how do we get there? I think it's individual, but I do think that it's necessary. So if I'm curious to know what other people's thoughts are on this. So if you're watching this video, feel free to leave me a comment and maybe we can open a dialogue about it. Because I know that it's not just a one and done thing. And I know that I'm not the only one who's had to sift through my wounds, you know, that stemmed from childhood. You know, there's so much going on right now. And the energy is dense for a lot of people. So much. There's so much going on right now. And if you need help, You need to ask for it. People don't just know. You know, I had a friend that I had been talking to, and she had somebody in her office that was just raging. She came to the office on a rampage and just insulted everybody and she was just ferocious and rabid with everybody that came in contact with her in this woman's office. And by the time this woman got to her, she was foaming at the mouth. And she sat down with her and she said, "Who hurt you? Who hurt you?" And this lady just unraveled right before her. Sometimes it's just that simple. That targeted approach and wanting to sit and listen to what this person had to say. It completely took the fuel away from her fire and allowed her the space to really feel into it, what was at the bottom of all that. The insults flying, and it was just, the woman was clearly miserable about something, and the only person that could get through to her and not be injured by what was coming out of her mouth was the one that said, "Who hurt you?" It was such a beautiful and targeted approach. And I think there's a lot of us experiencing discomfort in our bodies, or a lot of people coming up with cancer. And cancer a lot of times is an unhealed wound that we've shoved down, allowed that to grow and manifest into something much greater than it would have been. I'm not saying that everybody is capable of this. Some are. And I'm not saying to anybody that your cancer is your fault, because clearly it's not. We don't know what we don't know. And while it might be painful to hear that right now, but it's not a lie. It is actually the truth. And you'll know it in your body when you hear it. Something will say, "You know what? That's the truth." Because those emotions have to go somewhere. And we're better than to shove them down, because nobody wants to fucking hear it. But, we do have a voice, and we do have ways of communicating that we didn't have before. There's more of us willing to listen without judgment, listen without telling you you're wrong or suck it up or whatever people used to tell us in the past when we were kids, right? When you're crying, "You want me to give you something to cry about?" That's, a lot of us are not doing that or taking that approach right now. We're actually actively listening to people. So if you're going through stuff right now, find somebody that will listen. Journal about it. Record yourself in a message like this. See if you can work through it, or find somebody who can help you work through it. But it needs to be done, otherwise we're still stuck where we were before. And we'll never get off that hamster wheel, or the merry-go-round of life, if you prefer. Different bullies, different faces, different places, different situations. It's all coming up to be looked at. Don't ignore it. It's the worst thing you can do is ignore it or shove it back down where it came from, because it will continue to fester and it will continue to do damage in your body. So find a practitioner to help you if you need that, but let it out in a constructive way. I don't know what it takes for everybody, but I do know that if you come to me and tell me that you need a sounding board to work through some things, that I can do. But if you're just coming to me with calling names and being completely irrational, that I can't help. If you're not in a way of looking for a solution, if that's not where you're at, I don't know that I can really help. I can ask you who hurt you. Typically, it's not the person that you're lashing out on that's in your current trajectory. It's usually somebody from the past. So look deeper. Don't stop at the surface. That's not where it is. The surface might be your current catalyst, but it's not the inflictor. It's not the pain. Move into the pain. Take it apart. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it is worth it. I love you. Take it easy on yourself, okay? Have a good day.